Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion Plays Binding Wise AFTERBIRTH Plus. We've been incredibly blessed with our seeds so far. I'm incredibly blessed myself as I have Ruka. Oh, hello Ruka. And Tomo. Tomo's asleep, but that's okay. He still likes the pets regardless. It's a bit of a scary start, HP-wise. But also, like, really strong. Just need to get a spirit heart. That's what we should be fixated on right now. Hey, NL, press the space bar. Good one. Funny joke. Don't you know the secret of comedy yet? The secret of comedy is not making the most obvious joke. The secret to comedy is making the second most obvious joke. Hey, Egg, don't press the space bar. There you go. I've taken your 1 out of 10 joke and turned it into a comedy classic. A legitimate 5 bags of popcorn. You're welcome. Okay, bombs. Very nice. Sorry, I mean bombs. Very nice. Let's shoot all these. Like, honestly, this run shouldn't be a problem if we can get out of this, like, fledgling state right now. We're like, you know, a domestic major airlines flight, you know? All we need to do, you know, if you can make it through the takeoff and you can make it through the landing, you're good. Very rarely does a flight run into issue. I'll tell you, like, I'm not a flight expert, but I have played a lot of X-Plane. Playing a lot of flight simulations has actually, like, it's probably one of the reasons I have no flight anxiety anymore. I know that it's irrational anyway, but, like, people always told me the only scary parts are takeoff and landing. Look, I'll tell you, the only scary part from a flight simulator perspective is landing. Takeoff is nothing. And again, I'm exclusively saying this from the context of a flight simulator. You know, takeoff is just, you know, throttle up, hit whatever the takeoff velocity is, then, you know, you gotta have your flaps in the right position, and then you just, you know, pull back gently on the yoke. Landing! That is trickier. Now, I know that, you know, you can have... Oh, that scared me. The lock on my door just fidgeted a little bit. It's just the house settling. I know accidents happen, obviously, but, you know, that's kind of... I don't know, this might actually amp up your anxiety, but, accidents can happen whenever. You know, as soon as I realized, like, hey, you know, you don't even really have to worry about landing that much. It's pretty much just predominantly, or sorry, you don't have to worry about taking off that much. It's pretty much, you know, just landing. I got a lot less anxious about, you know, being in flight, because you have turbulence, you're like, yeah, whatever, it's turbulence. I hate to say it, but, like, you know, a freak accident can basically happen whenever. You can't spend your whole life, I mean, I know it's irrational, so this is not really fair, but the way I talk myself out of it to some extent is, you know, you can't really spend your whole life being afraid of freak accidents, you know? You could have a freak accident in a car at any moment. You could, I mean, literally any second right now, the big one could hit the Pacific Northwest and I could get swallowed up into a hole in the ground. Do I live, you know, every moment being in incredible fear of that? Absolutely not. Just a deep-seated sense of dread that never quite goes away, and I can't figure out why. That's two different stories. Anyway. This doesn't have to be an airplane episode. I haven't been on an airplane in a little while. When was the last... I mean, I was in... I guess we went to Japan in May. That's not even that long ago. It's been like... I mean this in a good way, you know? It's been a long year. Like every year, you know, there's been ups and downs. But, you know, people are like, this year's going by so fast. I don't really feel that. I feel like this has been a long and rich year. Personally, at least. You know, everybody's different, of course. But I'm like, man, I can't believe that there's still, like, 3 full months left. It's kind of weird, you know? The idea that time flies when you're having fun. Well, this year, like, I honestly is one of my favored years of my adult life. And still, you know, time hasn't really flown by. It's been moving kind of slow. It's nice. I feel like it doesn't happen all that often. So, don't shoot the messenger. But yes, we will be taking Mom's knife. Perhaps the time will eventually come where I feel guilty about all the great items we've been getting. Just let me hydrate a little bit here. And start nerfing myself, but no. Not anytime soon. Not anytime soon. Not after the nonsensical losses we've had to deal with recently. I mean, this one, if there's ever a genuine good reason to take Mom's knife, it's probably when you have low HP to begin with, but enough that you can survive, because this is like the single biggest, probably transformative item from a damage standpoint. I don't know. You might take issue with that, but I'm not really interested in arguing over banal Isaac minutia. You know what I mean. It's up there. We are suffering from a lack of consumables, which is how the French say keys and bombs. But we will at least be able to go to the item room. That's worth a lot. I'm just trying to, you know, get out in front of what could possibly destroy us right now. There's not a lot. I mean, as you can see, our damage is incredible. Having a little bit more range is actually pretty useful right now. Is it as useful as an HP upgrade? Well, let's not go friggin' crazy. I don't know if I'd go that far. I almost donated money. Who do you think you are, Warren Buffett? Ruka, you watching the Isaac episode out of the corner of your eye? That's stealing. I don't get any ad revenue when you watched it recorded live like that. How dare you? I thought you were who do you think pays for that wet food? You think I just go outside to the wet food tree and rip off a couple of packets of turkey and gravy? Dude, cats, if you don't believe in evolution, first off, come on. Secondly, look at the domesticated house cat. This, I mean, that doesn't really make an... In fact, I've actually undermined my point, and a less honest person would not show this, but most house pets end up, you know, being neutered. So it's not really a good example of evolution in action. But I digress, I suppose. I'm not going to go to the curse room. It's a little scarier. But this cat has learned one incredible behavior. And it pardon me, it's really stunning to me every time I see it. Because I'm like, this... Mother Nature has served you very well, Ruka. And it benefits Tomo as well. This cat is like an Oscar award-winning actor. I feed them a little bit of wet food every day, and they also have, you know, a sustenance level of dry food. You know, we're not trying to make our cats too large. They're already large just due to their breed. But every morning when Ruka wants wet food, it's like he puts on the performance of a lifetime. He's Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump. It's like he's never eaten before in his life. Like, he wanders over to me, and he's like... It's just like... It's a cacophony of misery. It's incredible. How did you learn that? I didn't teach you that. Where'd you... It must come from something, you know, deep in your codons, buddy. How'd you make that happen? It's incredible to me. Also, I mean, it's not really like a good skill evolutionarily, I guess. Although you could make the argument, you know, because you're getting fed. I'm not a coward. Let's head down to the next floor, though. I mean, we've already been to the relevant rooms for us here. But it's definitely a nice skill for, like, your quality of life, right? You know, he gets to have more wet food as a result. And wet food is like... I don't know, you know the way that, you know, human beings that work at an office feel about Fridays? That's like the way that cats feel about wet food. This is a TGIW, brother. I'm gonna get a little weird. You know why I'm gonna get a little weird with this run? Is because I'm like apologetic. I'm like ashamed of how fast this run got to unbelievable strength, and I want to atone for that by at least using potato peeler once, even though we don't have a ton of HP to work with. But you know, it's been a series of easy runs. The Isaac algorithm, with a couple of notable exceptions, has been very, very nice to me recently, and I gotta tell you, I couldn't appreciate it more. So we already know the only thing in there is potato peeler. It has been a good year, though. I don't know, honestly, it sounds wild, but combination of working out plus Pokemon Go plus like this being my first full calendar year of actually taking a day off. Who would have thought having like healthy hobbies plus also maintaining a stricter and better work-life balance would lead to me overall feeling better and more fulfilled. You know, it's almost like it's the advice that literally everybody has for you actually has some merit. Who would have thought? It's been a good year in that capacity. I don't really, there's not like, oh yeah, this is the year where, oh, I found $1 million check in my sofa. But, you know, it's just been nice. I do like, you know, I decided to pivot at the last possible second there. I think I like Crack the Sky just a little bit more than Krampus's head, but it's close. It's close. We don't really need a pure damage upgrade. We certainly don't care at all about glass cannon, so I'd rather have chemical peel, but it's not really a big deal. Let's just move along here. I don't know. I'm trying to like trying to figure out where we're gonna go with this run, because you know, we're 10 minutes into the run and we're on the depths 2. It's like it's absurd. Can I tell you, I watched a little bit of that Bill Gates documentary last night that a couple days ago I was, you know, talking smack about. Not really talking smack. But I was saying Bill Gates should eat breakfast, and also, you know, the kinds of people that watch that stuff are people who want to become billionaires themselves. That was rude, because once I started watching the documentary, I realized that at least episode 1 was actually about his very selfless quest to reinvent the toilet so that, you know, third world countries are not swimming in water that has, like, fecal matter in it. So, you know, it's one of those situations where you just got to admit that I was a little short-sighted. I minded for a joke that, you know, while not necessarily meant to be mean-spirited, certainly was coming from an invalid position. That's my mistake, William. I didn't mean to insult you or at least besmirch your character. I knew you were philanthropic. I had wrongfully assumed that the documentary maybe was approaching it from the perspective of like, here's how Bill Gates became a billionaire. Instead, it's like, here's what Bill Gates is doing to, you know, improve the world around him. I saw some dude really mad about it too online. I don't know why. I went to r/Netflix. That's how you know I don't know what I want to watch. And I saw one dude, it was in a completely unrelated thread, and he was like, by the way, PG-13 language coming. Not R-rated, just PG-13, in case you got some kiddos watching. But, you know, some dude was like, I didn't like the show that much. He's talking about something that's not the Bill Gates documentary, but at least it's better than watching Bill Gates jerk off for 3 hours. It's like, brother, I have not gotten to that part of the film yet. So first off, spoilers. That twist would have caught me by surprise. Here, I thought it was about, you know, Bill Gates' habits and goals. Oh, I didn't go to the item room. Great performance. Turns out it's actually just a vehicle for Bill Gates to, you know, rub one out for a couple of hours. Very strange indeed. I had no idea. The movie at no point telegraphed that was where it was going. So honestly, I have to applaud the filmmakers. They really kept the wool over my eyes. I wish they kept it there. And that's an example, in my opinion, where you gotta look at that person's post history. And if that person is consistently mad about everything online, then you go, you know what, this guy's just got some problems in his life, and you know, as a result, we gotta discount that criticism a little bit. You know, you gotta filter it through the lens of the context, which is that this guy's he's got a history of getting mad over stuff that may or may not matter. So maybe this does or does not matter as a result. Just one man's opinion. But you know what I actually ended up watching was this show, and I didn't finish the first episode yet. I believe, I don't know if it's either, it's 100% fiction or it's like based on a true story, but it's dramatized, or demonetized, as I like to say. That's a callback to something I said like 4 days ago, so top right, by the way. Help, sneeze. It's coming. I think I've actually, like, Pavloved myself into being able to force myself to sneeze by saying, it's coming. And I have many, many jokes, obviously circulating through my head right now that cannot be said, otherwise I'll be demonetized. So, let's not and say we did. That's so funny, I forgot to laugh. How are you so strong, sir? Anyway, the show was called Criminal. And the version, I heard there were other versions, but this is the British version I was watching. It was basically like a very slow-paced police interrogation mystery. And I was, you know, I kind of thought it was going to be like trash TV. Don't take this the wrong way, England. If America is like the king of trash TV, y'all are number 2. Australia's number 3, Canada's probably number 4. You also produce a lot of amazing television, don't get me wrong. I love Peep Show. It might actually be like one of my top 3 favorite comedy shows of all time. But you also produce a lot of like, can't pay? We'll take it away. You know. And a lot of... Maybe you're actually saying, hey, America might be the king of crappy reality TV, but most of their early ideas they stole from our networks, which is true. But anyway, I kind of thought it might be like that, but actually, it was like, it was very, very well done. I would highly recommend it if you're into that, you know, pseudo-true crime stuff. It almost felt like an art house video game to some extent. Which, I don't know, I might have done it a disservice, to be honest, but... It was very narratively interesting, is what I'm trying to say. I also did start watching, Unbelievable. I haven't gotten too far in it yet. I'll watch anything with Toni Collette. She has earned herself a permanent spot on the I'll at least check it out list. Very short list of actors whose work I will 100% in all circumstances at least give a try, you know? Toni Collette, Walton Goggins has made the list. I'm trying to think of who else. You're gonna think that I've lost my mind. I have not seen a Daniel Day-Lewis movie except for parts of There Will Be Blood. So I know you're like, what about Daniel Day-Lewis? Actually, you know what? I saw the first 1/3 of Lincoln as well, and I was like, I don't want this to taint my opinion of what is apparently one of the greatest actors of all time, because this movie is boring as hell. I can get down with a boring movie, don't get me wrong. But Lincoln, I was just like, this is a friggin' slog. No offense, Steven Spielberg. Actually, just the slightest offense, Steven Spielberg, because... Spielberg, I like a ton of your work, obviously. But, you know, a couple of missteps recently. I also, I expected to be a little bit more tolerant of Ready Player One. Then when I watched it, I was like, oh no. This is actually, I wouldn't necessarily say that Ready Player One is a bad movie. But if you're not picking up the vibe that Ready Player One is putting down, it is a little cringeworthy. It's weird because, like, you know, Wreck-It Ralph has, like, it's got a lot of similarities to Ready Player One in the sense that it's, like, you know, mining the, like, 80s pop and video game culture for nostalgia. But, like, Wreck-It Ralph has, like, I don't know, it has more charm and almost, like, sincerity. Ready Player One was kind of like, you know, remember this? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, that's it. That's just the end. You're like, yeah, no, I know, that's the DeLorean. I'm very familiar. That's the DeLorean. Yeah, that's a lightsaber. I'm familiar with that. Yeah, that's Donkey Kong. That's Donkey Kong right there. Anyway, I'm being needlessly negative. And the movie was competently done, but not up my alley. Is the polite way to say what I'm about to say. By the way, I sincerely apologize. If you booted this up to get a video to fall asleep to and you're not asleep by now, sorry. I mean, first off, I don't necessarily exclusively make the videos as sleep aids, so I feel like apologizing for that is a little bit, you know, it's above and beyond the Call of Duty. But secondarily, this is going to be like a 20-minute video, so I hope you're asleep by now. If you're not, you know, don't blame me. Blame the Devil Room that gave me the greatest item I ever could have asked for. And also blame the game because it put me in a position where I absolutely want to take this because half of our Devil Rooms for like the past 6 months have been items that essentially have no use whatsoever. But to get a little penance, I will pick up every single question mark item, even though some of them could cause us some issues. And they didn't at all. So we'll Emperor card and pretty much just, I'm just gonna put Mom's knife right here, and if you get walked into it, it's your fault. There you go. Well, anyway, that was ridiculous, but thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!